Welcome to Keeper of Secrets Tarot. I am Gypsy Girl, here to bring you another reading for Gemini. I thank you, Spirit, for protecting and keeping the collective safe, for protecting me, keeping me safe. Gemini, thank you for your likes, your subscribes, and your shares, but most of all for showing up. Gemini, this is a reading for the person most on your mind. I'm using the Green Witch Tarot by Ann Moura with the 9-card spread, where I choose the cards at random. And here we have the Knight of Cups with the 10 of Swords, the 4 of Swords, and just hiding there the 3 of Swords. And then this one is hidden, the Lady and the Lord, so the lovers. Let's see, we have the Knight of Cups. So going with what you want, really going with what you love, and really knowing it's being guided. It's being guided. You're on a journey. You're on a journey. You want to go in the direction of what you love. So you know what you want. The 10 of Swords is what is making you go in that direction. You're moving away from betrayals and truths about betrayals. You've made a choice, or someone has made a choice, could be the person most on your mind, to speak some truth, and because of that truth, you're moving on. We have the 4 of Swords. So it took a while to come to make that decision to move on away from what you know, what you found out, in other words. It is about a relationship. A deep cut is what I'm getting from here. But then it is about truth, and it took a while before that truth could come. Whomever, whether it's you or the next person most on your mind, or it could be someone else who was really contemplating and having to make that decision to put an end to things, or to come forward with certain truth. But then it is knowing that coming forward would heal, because this is karmic. This had to come forward. This, whatever truth you received, had to come forward, because there was that disappointment. And being that it is the 3 of Swords and the 3 of Cups, very karmic, very, very karmic, in the sense where it is an emotional bond that is being broken, and it took a while to come to this decision. The 8 of Pentacles, details had to reveal itself. Gemini, I thank you for your likes, your subscribes, your shares, but most of all for showing up. And we have the 7 of Pentacles with that 10 of Swords and the Queen of Cups. So it is, again, the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Cups. It is about commitment. It is about revealing certain truths, and the justice is in that the truth, the details, the work, the hard work that you may have put into a relationship is where you see that you need to heal. You need to heal from that. You need to go over the details, whether you go over them in your own time, just with yourself, because you're following your spirit, you're following your intuition, you're following what you know you need to follow. It's a question of siphoning out the truths, understanding the details behind the circumstance, knowing why what was said or done. That is where you're going to get the healing. And of course, the betrayals are from the past. This is going way, way, way back. So you're finding out, or you're getting confirmation about certain individuals or certain information, and you're making it, you're really making sense of it. You're seeing where you were pushed aside, or they were pushed aside, depending on your situation. It is a question of where you fit in the information and the details, going over those details and dealing with certain individuals. The deck keeps splitting. We see the Four of Pentacles, so it's a lot of Pentacles here. We have the Nine of Pentacles, going it alone, really keeping things hidden and being left out, or the decision to keep you, or the decision to keep them left out, or not tell certain information was a decision that was made, and then of course all truth had to be revealed in the end. Gemini, what a mouthful. So ooh, this is the person most on your mind read, and accompanying this deck from Ann Moura, I've brought in the energy, sorry, not the energy, the wisdom of the oracle cards, because that's what they are, by Colette Baron-Reid, for reading the energy of the person most on your mind, as well as your energy. And how I'm doing that is I flipped half of the deck, well, half. I cut the deck and then I flipped over one portion so that some cards are actually reversed and others are upright. Again, the Four of Pentacles showing itself, letting me know that still there's information that needs to be revealed, or someone isn't willing to share space or time or information. Either you or they are. Someone is not, or it could be a third person. It could be someone else altogether that doesn't want to share. They don't want to open up. They don't want to reveal. But you already know, if not everything, nearly everything that you need to know. Gemini. Reading the energy with the wisdom of the oracle is to help give a little more depth to your situation, because again, it's not everybody who's going to feel connected to those cards. And then I have the Lover's Oracle, author is unknown. I never got a booklet, and the packaging never said who created the deck, but it's called the Lover's Oracle, and that helps us see the thoughts of the person most on your mind. All right, so we had a good shuffle, and I'll just do one more and then cut for the person most on your mind. I'm doing this reading on the 29th of September, so this is really going to push through to October. And of course, I'm going to come back with the All Signs read, and that's going to come not too long after I finish this set. Here we have the situation, how you are dealing with it and how they are. This is Spirit's advice on how to deal with the situation that you're going through. This is how you take that advice. This is where they do. And of course, if you follow through with this read, this would be the outcome, because nothing I say is written in stone. You have free will, so if you don't follow Spirit's advice, then this outcome will surely change. This is how they take that, or this is how they move with the shifting of the outcome and how you do. All right, let's see the top, from the top of the read. Oh my, look at that. Sort of a repeat from the previous read, and I really did shuffle these cards, so I'm curious as to how this reading will play out, because it was Cancer that had this card in the same position. which is the Hangman. And this is Spirit's doing, as to keeping certain individuals separate and working through information, again, the details of circumstance and situation, and how you and how they, the person most on your mind, is taking on those bits of information. The situation in itself is to see the perspective, or see a different perspective with the relationship that you have, whatever type of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it is about how you see and how they see the relationship. You're feeling left out, you're feeling pushed aside, you're feeling like you don't belong in this scenario, or you're made to feel that you're not worthy, or you have that inclination that you are not worthy of this relationship, or that you're made to feel like you are an outsider, you're not accepted in the group. Again, depending on the type of relationship that you're dealing with in this read, you are feeling the victim here. Here we see the Seven of Swords. So it could be that they are not honest with you, and this is why you're feeling that you don't belong, or that the relationship has shifted in a way where you are left out, you're pushed out. They're not being honest, or they're making plans, or they have a plan. They're following on their own idea of where this relationship will go. They're so funny, because I saw a skunk just last night on the way home, and they go on their own. They follow a particular route they have lined up. They don't just wander around. They follow particular trails. They make a trail and they follow that trail. It's where their scent keeps them feeling that security of where they're walking. It's funny because it's just the same. It's odd. Sorry, Gemini, my mind is just shifting over to the skunk walking in the field. Well, not in the field, but it was to the sidewalk, but they were going a particular trail, and this is the mindset of the person most on your mind, that they're following their belief, they're following their own plan, they have their own ideas, they are looking into what they want, getting it their way, and their back is turned to you. Person most on your mind is probably the person who's making you feel like you don't belong. Spirit is saying that either both of you or they need to change the mindset. Now, both of you is where I would really say Spirit is saying you both need to change your mindset, because you not feeling worthy is you projecting what you think the next person is thinking of about you, unless you are feeling guilt in a process of what you may have done. And Spirit is saying that this needs to be released. Again, this needs to be released. This way of thinking on both sides needs to change. You need to view this relationship differently and come down off of that level of thinking where one is more or less than the other. Being able to release yourself rather than wait for someone to come and save you is where Spirit is saying you need to take control there, and they need to ease up a little bit, because their mindset is really wired tight. They just want things their way, and they're not really paying attention to how you may be affected or how you feel about what they want, and not sharing, because that's what we saw with the Four of Pentacles is coming home to the Eight of Swords, where it's trapping the self. Spirit is saying to release that, release this hold on ideas and that determination to be in control and having things my way or the highway. And here we have the Ace of Cups. So being that you will follow that advice, where you will allow yourself to see a different perspective on how you were put into this position, or how you put yourself there, because Spirit is pretty much saying you feel the way you choose to feel. If you feel good, then you feel good. If you think about feeling trapped or not worthy, well, then you are putting that value of your worth on out there to the world. You are projecting that idea. Whether someone else is thinking it or not is irrelevant. It's a question of how you are viewing your value. And because you are able to release, because you are, we all are, it is a question of choosing to do so. Spirit has put you in a position where you can see the truth and know that you have a great value. And I say that because the Ace of Cups represents that spark within, that truth, that declaration of, I'm taking care of myself now. I'm allowing what I want to show. I'm allowing what I feel about me to be projected. And this is where you get to feel that self-love, because of the truth that you have received, because of recognizing from the details or what we saw in the shuffle as per what others have said or done. You're able to now look at yourself and give yourself that affection, or at least say to yourself that you don't believe that you are not worthy. You do in fact see your value, and that you have a new beginning. And what needs to end in that Ten of Swords is putting things to rest. And if it is that you know that you cannot trust the next person or the person most on your mind, then it's a question of letting them go and starting over and giving yourself what you know you need. The Holy King here would be the representative of the Hermit in this deck, is having that understanding, recognizing that, well, Gemini doesn't seem to be affected by what I'm doing, or Gemini is not paying attention to the mind games and the deceit and the lies, or Gemini is rising above, and I need to follow suit. I need to see, because now where they were facing their away from you, where the back is turned, Spirit has them pretty much looking into the mirror and seeing their reflection as to how selfish they can be or have been. And they are reflecting on what was, because they've turned, if not a whole way around, they've turned to see that they need to pay attention to what is. They need to take that look in the mirror and really take a lesson from your generosity, your affections, and the fact that you are quite capable of opening up and being generous and changing your perspective on the outlook of the relationship in itself. Here we see the end of this scenario coming in with focal point on what needs to be done, and really put in an effort. Again, it's another ace, though it is the page with the pentacle, really exercising that sense of know-how, that intuition is really being projected here through loyalty, through demonstration, through it's not just what I say, it's what I do that shows my affection. And put in a point to it that there is change here, viewing the relationship in a whole new perspective, because the ace of any suit is starting up, wanting to, having that potential to begin again, and not necessarily going back with the person or the person who's on your mind, but putting a new plan into action. And they are seeing that you're quite capable of moving on, and you're exercising that capability. You're expressing it in holding yourself away from the situation or from them in general, where you're not communicating, where you are keeping to yourself and doing for yourself and energizing from within, rather than wanting to project and share what you have. You're keeping it to yourself, and you're working with what you have to change, and to really reflect that you have understood, and you're willing to make the steps, and you're taking the action to do so. Again, the Wheel of Fortune is a timer in itself, where the wheel is changing. You are within now. This is a projection as to the wheel turns in your favor. And we see Jupiter shifting into Cancer and then coming back into Gemini, and that will take place between November and December. Gemini, I do apologize. My recording cut off and I didn't hear it, and I kept going. So this is how, of course, this is how it ended, but I'm gonna just go back a bit. And okay, I have to go back a little bit, a lot. Let's see, I took this one first, and then I took this one, and then I took this one, and then I took this one. Okay, so we'll just put them there for now. I lost my crystal. Oh, it's here. Okay, so I'll just put that there. And where the tape ended, again, I did them and then I did you, so I'll just do that. Where it ended was when I was saying that Cancer is going to retrograde back into Jupiter. Oh my goodness. Jupiter is going to retrograde back into Gemini by December 8th, I think, is when it's coming back in. So you're going to have that play of luck coming into you. Then I flipped over their card, and here we see them, the person most on your mind. I got, and I still see it, where he really, and I say he, it is the King of Cups. Whether it is a woman or a man, it is the masculine side of the the lower arcana energy. So if it is you're dealing with a male, well, he is really wanting to come back. And if you're dealing with a woman, then she is really fighting within to see that she needs to come back and really step up, because you are giving them a lesson here. You are showing them that you are quite capable of moving off onto your own. So the King of Cups is that sense of loyalty, that sense of wanting to come back. And when I drew the energy, I keep saying the energy, well, their energy from the wisdom of the oracle, I pulled out time to go in the reverse. And then of course for you, I pulled out the observer. So I'll read again. Well, again, you didn't hear it the first time, but I'll read it. 45. To see that they don't want to go, and they don't want you to go. They want to come back to you. If they had gone away because they went away being angry, or they gave you that sensation of, I don't want to be in a relationship with you, I'm going on my own, they're realizing that you're quite capable of taking care of yourself, and they want to come back in. They don't want to go. If it is they saying that they want to go, they don't really mean that they want to go. So let's see 48. Sorry, is it? No, it's 45. Sorry. 45 is time to go, and we're looking at the protection message on that one, where the general meaning is it's an ending, it's a completion, it's walking away from something because there's nothing else to learn or experience, and that is not the case. They are learning and from you more than anything. And here is where we read the protection or the reverse. Even if it appears that you've reached the end of the line and all is lost, it isn't. You're in a situation that will resurface again later, so consider this a break rather than an ending. Destiny is in charge here. You lose nothing and gain everything when you surrender to that fact. And that's what they have to do. Spirit has put them in a position where they are seeing that they need to release that attitude of, I don't want to be with Gemini, or Gemini can just go on their own. Your soul knows, and this is about them, so their soul knows that their destiny is unfolding with perfect timing and synchronicity. Your small self has doubts. They have doubts, but that is natural, as it doesn't have the map of your destiny. The soul does. Spirit loves you. Trust that. So Spirit really does want them to come back to you, and Spirit has put them in a position where they're seeing that they need to release and come back to you. So let's read on where I pulled you as the observer, because you're stepping back. You're not giving in. You're giving them the impression that you can do what you want when you want, and you're not afraid to go forward with that. Let's see 49, the observer. You're observing how they behave, because you are going to make decisions based on their behavior as to either going back or not, because Spirit has put you in a situation too where perspective and objectivity and neutral observation from a distance is what you're doing. You're really looking back at where you've been with them, and again looking forward to what you want to do, and if you want to have them come along with you. So we look at the relationship on this, where sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees in your way. Feelings get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another, and that again is reflecting on how you either were made to feel or how you judge yourself in that relationship, depending on what relationship you're looking into. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. And I said that at the beginning. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground. Take to higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. And then I shifted right away into the Lovers Oracle, and the first card that I pulled random, I shuffled, I mean, you know I do, it was the clinging sensation that they have. They don't want to let you go. That it could be you're dealing with a Pisces, a Cancer, a Scorpio, where they're really caught up in how they feel about you, obsessing and spying on you, even really checking in on what is Gemini doing. Gemini is not bothering with me, what the hell? And they're really wanting to know. Then the next card I pulled was the bitterness card, where they have resentment, they have hurt, they have said things that make you feel like you don't belong, or that they don't want to be with you. But they're reflecting on that in the Hermit. And they're going with the fact that you are not phased. You're not phased. You're moving on. And it could be that family members have come in to help bring this connection that you have with them to a point of hurtful words. Or it could just be that they're really missing what you bring to them as family goes. You see? I mean, take it as it resonates, huh? And then, of course, the last card I pulled was letting go, moving on, and walking away, which emphasizes that either they are seeing that you are able to do it, but they can't, or they are really thinking about, I don't want to go away from my Gemini. I want Gemini in my life. I want to come back. Or that they have done the letting go and release, and now they're regretting that and they want to come back. And then, of course, I flipped the deck and we saw shattered, heartbroken, and destroyed. And that is all the dark sense here. You see? This is coming more into light, and family might be pushing them to come back to you in some form. Or, I mean, again, take it as it resonates. If you have a good connection to the family, or that you are family, and the fact that family, it plays a big role, is what is bringing them back towards you. And of course, they're looking at what they've done in retrospect with the Hermit and how they made you feel, and they're reflecting in that way. On that note, Gemini, I thank you for your likes, your subscribes, and your shares. Until our next read, love and light.